Shut up and sit down.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, man, I tell you, I needed a snack after trying to pow this out, dude. You know what, to tell you the truth, I really don't know how we're going to do this podcast today.
Dude, it's the most god-awful piece of crap I've ever seen in my life. I mean, can you seriously believe that they've replaced No Way Out with this?
Not only did they replace No Way Out, but they replaced it with almost like an ironic name to something that is so slow.
I know. Look,
you know,
this is my prop beer, and I've almost opened it 3 times during this.
I know.
This is the thing. I mean, if I open it now, what am I going to do during the Divas Division bit?
To be honest, Chris, I have no idea. I don't. I really don't.
What the hell are we going to do? We got to open the show somehow. I mean, Joe, what are we going to do, man?
I honestly don't know. I mean, at this point, we might as well just go into character and just go straight into the podcast and just hope for the best. I really hope that Kane can come up with something crazy. I know that he's probably waiting for me. You know.
Man, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do that.
Okay. Should I summon Kane?
Give me a sec. I gotta stretch the neck. All right. Yeah. Go ahead. Let's.
Okay.
Get into character.
Okay. Here we go. Trish Stratus. Woo! Welcome back, folks, to Off the Ropes. I am your man, Kane the Super Snooker, and I'm here with my man from New Orleans, the Faded Saint, and we're here to talk to you about... Ooh, something's happening. There's a human voice in my head telling me about this show called Fastlane.
Keep it together. Keep it together. Come back. Come on. Trish Stratus, bro. Trish Stratus.
Oh, thank God. Yes! Fastlane. Woo! So slow, it should be called Carpool Lane. I don't know what's going on here, folks, but I can tell you this much. We're going to talk about this.
It's like a shipping lane.
You won't even know about it. I wish there was a cargo lane, because that's probably better for this situation here. And I can tell you this, folks, even though the pay-per-view was, in itself, decent matches, because let's look, spot-wise, they weren't so bad, but story-wise, you might as well took a dump in a bag and handed it out to the audience, because that is a better piece of shit than anything else that we had here, folks. And we're going to talk about it right now, and then we're going to talk about the Raw, which was, I don't even know what to tell you, it was better than the pay-per-view. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Let's get on with that. Let's get with that pre-cook. Let's get this crap show off the road.
Man, you really not gonna introduce me?
I'm sorry. I'm so frustrated.
I know, right? Damn.
You know what? We're going to take a little back, folks. Faded Saint, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing Fastlane today. I mean, what can you say about that?
See, the fact that you're even saying that, I don't even know why I introduced you, because you don't even care either. I know how you feel.
I mean, it's not that I don't care. I mean, it's just like, they should have just called it, you know what's going to happen.
The filler show. That's
exactly. I mean, Jesus God, it had more filling than a chocolate eclair.
I know that. I know that Pappy Snooker fell asleep before the first match started. How do you know? That's how you know the pay-per-view's gonna be bad, when Pappy Snooker falls asleep.
Oh God! But yeah, let's get this over with, man.
Let's talk about the match that should have been in the pay-per-view, which was in the pre-cook.
Yes, that was, of course, Raymond Stereo Jr. versus APR or whatever, ADR, Alberto Del Rio. U.S. Championship match. It was 2 out of 3 falls, and, you know, at first I was angry, and I kind of understand why they did it on the pre-show, because I actually timed it out, and they actually got about 35 minutes, which is a decent time for a 2 out of 3 falls match. But at the same time, this was easily the second best match of the night.
Yeah, you know what? I could also tell you this much, folks. I think that when we get into the pay-per-view more about it after the pre-cook, there are 2 specific matches that they could probably just pull from that and put in the pre-cook and put that in there. But I'm just saying. Either way, the only thing I'm a little mad about that particular match was how cheap they did the first fall. Alberto Del Rio lost by countout because he hit...
Disqualification.
I'm sorry. Disqualification because he hit Raymond Stereo Jr. the third with a chair.
God, they want him to be Rey Mysterio so bad.
I think you know what? I'm gonna take a look at the video one more time. I think they got rid of the dragon tail on the back of his head.
Oh,
I think
Alberto Del Rio ripped that thing off. But I mean, it was funny because I had a couple of friends over, and they were watching it, and they were like, "Man, you weren't kidding. that's Raymond Stereo Jr. It's like, yeah, it looks just like him, right? You know, they actually asked about the stupid dangly things. Like, they have to put it there because, like, I don't know how much you guys at home, but like down in Mexico, like the luchador mask, like your mask, that is like a copyright, and they will cut someone over that. Like, it's like clowns up here. Like, each clown makeup configuration is like a copyrighted trademark, and lo and behold, woe be to you who takes the trademark from that clown. Same thing with the luchadors. And so they had to make it as much as they could, but they had to put some extra stuff on there so there wasn't Rey Mysterio. But, I mean, yeah, I liked it because I saw it coming a mile away, but still, Alberto Del Rio is such a good worker. He made it look just completely vicious, and I was into the psychology of that. Because I mean, just absolutely, like, of course, you drop the first fall to absolutely cripple your opponent and then get a cheap second fall, and then you're just down to the match.
Pretty much. But I can tell you this much. The 2 out of 3 count situation was a lot better if it was the pay-per-view, and I'll tell you why. Because this was actually one of the very few matches that required personal heart in the middle of it. Keep in mind, folks, ADR and Raymond Stereo have been feuding for a while now. And this match made it very personal. And the chair shot was very reasonable when you look at it all down the road.
But, and I know we both said this, John Cena wouldn't have worked a U.S. title match on the freaking pre-cook.
John Cena wouldn't even work the pay-per-view without having his match the second to last before the next one.
John Cena wouldn't have even worked this pay-per-view.
That's a lie.
Okay,
He's a money machine. He's a kid money machine.
I don't think John Cena could. I don't think John Cena could have saved this pay-per-view.
I can tell you this much: if it wasn't for John Cena losing his arm like that, there wouldn't be no title reign on Kalisto.
Probably not. But I mean, here's the thing: we're all adults here, and we're going to be saying this a lot. Let's not pretend this wasn't something that we didn't know how it was going to end. And because we knew how it was going to end, Raymond Stereo Jr. on the pre-cook. 2 falls over Alberto Del Rio's 1. And that brought us in to the show proper. Which, you know, we started off with a Divas match, which was surprisingly good. Probably because it didn't have anything to do with the title. And that match was the tag team match of Naomi and Tamina versus Sasha Banks and Dame Dolph Ziggler.
Dame.
A.K.A. Becky Lynch. And, you know,
I'm amazing. I thought they got rid of it for Sasha's title because she has the better song. And, of course, because she's now no longer with them, they went back to the crappy song again.
I mean, this was a good match. This is by far the best Divas match I've watched in, like, on the main show, at least.
Well, if we consider it not a tag match, but a 2-on-1, because Tamina doesn't count as a wrestler to me.
I was actually surprised with Tamina. I was definitely happy that she got rid of the little rockabilly thing that she did. Like, again, she was out a while ago with a spinal injury, and she can't do the high-flying stuff. But she can... I'll tell you what. I'll take Tamina any day over Nia Jax.
I
can't even watch that. But at any rate,
even worse is they tag up the 2 worst women in that whole scenario of NXT, Eva Marie and Nia Jax. But I digress. This is not about NXT, even though that shit's happening.
The match was basically Tamina was the equalizer, and it was a lot of beating down on Dame Dolph Ziggler and keeping Sasha from the hot tag, because let's be honest here, Sasha is the main attraction of this match.
You're damn right.
And a lot of good spots. Once again, my friends there, when they saw Naomi do the rear view, they could not stop laughing because of how they're like, really? And it's like, yeah. Like I tried to explain that to my roommate who also saw it, and I was just like, It's moves like that gives wrestling a bad name, and there's no explaining it. It's like they just look at you and you're like, I know.
It happened.
It's like that line from it's like that long line from Wrestling Isn't Wrestling. Some of it's really bad, but when it's good, it's really good, and that's the some of it's really bad part of it.
Every time I see her do it, though, folks, I automatically think of New Day saying, "That's booty."
Oh, it was booty. It was watching it Xavier Woods on Hot Pepper Gaming. That was painful.
Sidetrack, folks. This was funny as shit. You need to watch that on the real quick. You know what? We'll sit right here. You pause our channel because YouTube allows us to consider pause and watch. So go ahead and refuse that. Look for Xavier Woods doing Hot Pepper Gaming. My God, he is fantastic.
He does not one, not two, but 3 games. He does it under his actual name, Austin Creed, to promote his channel Up, Up, Down, Down, which is a gaming channel with all of your favorite WWE stars. Just pause right now. Go watch it. We'll wait. I'm going to assume you're back now and you've unpaused. So, yeah, exactly. Was that not, like, painful to watch? That was just, like, crazy. So...
Am I bleeding?
Am I bleeding? What is this? Bring it back. Again, Sasha's the attraction, so you have to know how this ended. This ended with a what was it? A second rope backstabber into the bank statement, and God, it looked like she had some extra Irish on that, didn't it?
Just a little slab.
Yep. And Sasha Banks and Dame Dolph Ziggler over Naomi and Tamina, because, of course, reasons.
Yes, but you know what? I have to say still, for the women's match itself, let's also acknowledge that the fact that there was 2 women's matches in one pay-per-view. Hey, that's a Christmas miracle.
I would feel better about that if the other match wasn't the other match, but we'll get to that.
We have reserves, of course, on that. But, of course, the next one involves a pretty good setup. KO Mania versus the Buttmaster 3055. Well, I upgraded him to Buttmaster 2000 to Buttmaster 3055 because of the fact that how he just literally got weird. Did you see that hairdo? Did you see that hairdo?
Yeah, we were making. What was that? Was that like?
Can we point out the hairdo?
I think we called that like a cornrow mullet.
Yep.
Like, if you didn't see the pay-per-view and you're trying to figure out what we're talking about, just listen to these words. Cornrow mullet. I guarantee you it's exactly what you think it is. And it looked just as bad. I don't know what his deal is. But, I mean...
Well, my friend said it looked like he was getting cornrows done, and he goes, "Holy crap, I have a match, I gotta go!" And they just stopped it, and he ran out with it.
So what you're saying basically is that Dolph Ziggler jobbed to the hairdresser because he ran out of time.
Yep.
So this was a great match. I mean, it was exactly what they've been giving us on Raw. And what can you really say about it?
Well, let's just talk about how great Kevin Owens is now.
Oh, Jesus, is he not like so much better when he has I mean, don't get me wrong, like. Absolutely frothing at the mouth, losing his goddamn mind. Kevin Owens is great, but he is so much better when he has that title. And I was really worried that they were going to let him go into obscurity there.
Yeah, I like how he won it so cheaply too.
Of course he did.
Anyone except for he beat someone else to win that title because it was a 5-way from the last Raw, and it was well worth getting in. I mean, we all know why Dean Ambrose had to lose that title because there's no way he's going to walk in the IC title at Mania against a certain somebody, which we'll mention later. But I can tell you this much. Him going now with that title means he's going to have a bitchin' one at WrestleMania. Whoever he's versing that night, and I really hope it's not Buttmaster, whoever he's versing that night for the IC title, it's going to be a bitchin' match.
It is. And I heard from a little birdie they're aiming for a certain phenomenal person to be his opponent at WrestleMania, but that's not... They will have a phenomenal match, and
they would. But
let me put it to you like this: with what they're serving up to us so far that we know of, they are trying to make up for what they know the fans don't want. And we'll get to that later, but you guys can probably guess. But no surprises here. Kevin Owens over Bumpmaster 3055. We've upgraded him. 3055?
Yeah, 3055, because that
Hold on,
cornrow mullet. Cornrow mullet.
Let me, hold on.
I'm making a song, Darso, a cornrow mullet. When you don't have time, cornrow mullet. Time to take the dive.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want there? And then we go from the predictable to the only thing that surprised us all freaking night. And that was the match that really we expected absolutely nothing out of. And
One out of the two matches that could have been the pre-cook.
exactly. One out of the two. It was The Big Show versus Kane versus Ryback versus not Bray Wyatt's.
The Wyatt's others. Because I can tell you this much, folks. That match was pretty decent for how it went, but of course the worst part about that is they went all face. Like they were like I think it was face central the entire night if you really think about it. Except for one match. Except for one match.
Raymond, the girls. No. 2 matches. 3 matches. We'll get to that because KO is not a face.
KO is
so that's one here.
I don't know because he's the people's hate, so they love him no matter what he is.
So we expected this to be just like another rollover to build up the Wyatt family.
Nope.
I mean, it was a decent little match. I
can tell you this much. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna pull myself into the future just a little bit because it's a big question I have to ask you, and I think you probably didn't catch this. But what is with the Wyatt family losing at pay-per-views only to win again the next night on Raw to the same team?
I don't know. Man.
Didn't the last pay-per-view they versed the ECW crew?
There's a reason. There's a reason why I left that off the lineup because I didn't want to talk about that in the second half because I found that completely stupid and that whole. I'm just gonna spoil it for you now. Obviously the Wyatts win the next night on Raw because Ryback just gets up and leaves and he decides that he doesn't want to be a part of the tag team anymore and blah.
He wants to be his thing.
So
he wants to be Goldberg again because clearly that's what his outfit looks like.
God. I was just answering that was the question I was just answering right there because I think a friend of mine is watching Raw and just asked me, it's like, what the hell is up with his gear? And I was just like,
all I know is
heel turn. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah, it's coming. Just wait for it.
All I know is he likes big guys on his butt. That's
so,
all.
Kane Show, Ryback over the not Bray Wyatts. Yeah, you could skip it. Really, makes no difference. Has no impact.
Big Show doesn't even do his finisher anymore, folks. He's just there.
You know what time it is.
No.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet? You don't think so?
No, you gotta say the names first.
God damn it. So, that leads us in to what's very quickly becoming our version of Miller time. Although this isn't a Miller, this is a Nola blonde ale.
I'm gonna let you know, folks. Every time he does this, it's always a different ale.
It is. I try and vary it up because I have to find something that will dull the pain.
And this whole time, I thought it was just whatever you found in the bargain bin.
Charlotte versus Brie Bella, and y'all know what's happening next.
My stomach's turning because of that. Now, here's the thing, folks. Once again, the match itself wasn't too bad. I, myself, loved this whole new deal with Charlotte being the super heel. Or I call Flair 2-point cunt. That's what I call. The thing is that they are literally... The match wasn't well-dressed when it comes to being personal. Brie Bella had no agenda. The only thing she had on the cheap pop was that she was literally riding her husband's coattails on the goodbye rally by coming out with his gear on her feet and doing the yes chant as he was walking out and doing the kicks, all that kind of stuff, just to get the cheap pop. When we all know that Charlotte Flair was going to demolish the shit out of her.
I fell asleep during the match.
It was bad.
I mean,
It was bad. It was. Let's also face it. The women's match itself was pretty good. They actually did pretty good. And for Brie Bella, that was a pretty impressive match for her because she usually is a flop stick around the entire match. But she did pretty good on her submission locks. The only thing that sucked is that the only way that they felt she could lose is if she was injured in the middle of the match. And they tried pulling this thing off that her leg was hurt because of Charlotte. And that's the only reason why she tapped out to the figure eight. That alone is not worth it. You know what? I think Charlotte should go and recollect herself from what she used to do back in her NXT days. And I think Brie Bella should take over Brooklyn and watch that Sasha match against Bayley and show you how a vanilla versus spice can happen really well. Because Bayley is not anywhere good on the mic. She doesn't have that appearance that makes sense to her character, but she can wrestle like a beast. And she does it so goddamn well. Brie just needs to learn that. If she can learn that, she could definitely rock it because, she's been in the company for a while.
That's if she sticks around.
Yeah, she's been in the company for a while. She's actually considered leaving, folks. And who knows, as far as it goes, I can understand why she would leave because Daniel Bryan's gone and they're going to look to make babies. But if she's going to stick around, she really needs to realize that just because she's been there for a long time doesn't mean she's entitled to floppy matches.
I agree. I fell asleep during it. I knew what was going to happen. The payoff is Sasha and Charlotte at Mania. This match was pointless, and they did nothing to keep my attention in the match. I mean,
meh.
Yeah, meh. I mean, we're all adults.
But you know what?
Let's not pretend this wasn't something it wasn't.
I have to say, they're pretty smart about how they calculate the highs and the lows in this, because they clearly did this so that way they can have a nice low tone for the next match.
Yep, Charlotte over Brie Bella.
Yeah.
To the surprise of no one.
I think we said that. I think we said that.
We did.
But
anywho.
But we have to do the chops, baby. We have to do the chops.
We got to do the chops. But that led us into match of the night. Easily. It's Milk the Crowd Reaction Theater with your hosts AJ Styles and Y2J Chris Jericho. Hashtag L'Oreal loves the J. Anywho. She might be asking us a question later, by the way.
I think she's behind you right now with a bow and arrow about to shoot you.
It would not surprise me. By the way, for those of you out there, it's probably not a smart idea to keep poking someone with a virtual stick who has the nickname Lady Death. But I know she loves me and she won't kill me. Anyway, yeah.
That's when the blow dart came out.
That's when the blow dart, and that's when she killed me, Your Honor. Anyway, AJ Styles versus Y2J, and if you saw the match on Raw after the Rumble, if you saw the match on SmackDown after that Raw, it was a damn good match. It was the best match. It was Christmas. I mean, Chris Jericho's lost a step or two. But he still hung in there, and AJ is really hitting his stride.
Damn right.
I mean, we can't even do the match justice, but it was basically Y2J, the wily veteran, having scouted AJ almost at every turn.
I have to say, though, folks, the only thing I might pet peeve with in that match, two things. One, Chris Jericho almost killed AJ Styles. There was a lot of botching going on, and one of them almost dropped him on his head.
Mm-hmm.
Two was this would have been the first time that the Styles Clash got put onto Y2J. I think they should have saved it for the 1, 2, 3. That's my opinion, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, they're really playing down the Styles Clash, aren't they?
They know it's like the most reversible thing right now. And I think it's because you know what I think. Tell you the truth, folks. With the exception,
they want him to have a WWE finisher.
Yeah, you know what? Not only that, but with the exception of Roman Reigns, not many, and I should say maybe only a handful, less than a handful of people like Roman Reigns, like Ryback, where there's no momentum pull for the move. any of them that normally has a move where you're holding them for a second just to put out your arms just to recognize it's going to be the clash is probably why they're making it like the most reversible thing, because usually it's a big no-no for Vince that doesn't like finishers that draw out a moment before you pull it off. I don't know why, but that seems to be the thing.
This coming from the guy who okayed such great moves like the worm, the people's elbow, and the 5-knuckle shuffle.
Hey, that people's elbow, do not touch it.
It's a stupid move.
The 5-knuckle shuffle is a stupid move.
They're all stupid. I mean, it's an elbow drop. That's all it is.
So was Hogan's leg drop, and everyone knows that shit was legit.
We do not speak about the Double H here. You know that.
No.
Damn it, I'm going to get hate mail now.
You told me that we couldn't talk about Chris Ben.
Yeah. You were going to get me kicked off of YouTube. Okay? Back to the match. Yeah, it was very high spotty. It was very sloppy at points, but it was still awesome. And I liked it. Nitpicks aside, I liked it.
It was still a favorite match. It was still a favorite match. And, of course, they had to bring out the whole hype face by shaking it off at the end.
Yeah, but, I mean, no surprises here. It was still AJ Styles winning the rubber match against Y2J.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, like the next night on Raw, they were like best friends. So, but then that brings us to, you see, I'm kind of torn about this. Because A segment should not take the place of a match. But B, it was probably the second most entertaining thing on the card.
And also a much need for a lot of pay-per-views. They really lack vignettes in the middle of these things.
So basically what they did was they announced that they were going to have a cutting-edge peep show with the New Day. And if you think, oh my god, that sounds awesome, it was just about as awesome as you thought it was. Until...
Let's take a step back for a minute. Let's discuss the ever so epic hairstyles that usually Xavier Woods pulls out on these things. Let's talk about the one he brought out tonight. Didn't he not look like the Constable from How Mom and Dad Saved the World?
Oh, absolutely. And knowing him, that's exactly what he was doing.
We need to pull a picture up that bad. It is that obvious. We need to put a picture up where Xavier Woods' hairdo with the Constable from that movie, compare them side by side. Holy crap, that hairstyle was legit.
I'll see if I can find it. Future me, see if you can find it. Don't drink the beer this time. Actually try and put it up, unless you can't find it or you're running short on time or something. We'll try. But, I mean, it was Edge and Christian basically saying, it's like, dude, you guys are just basically the new us. You're just cribbing our... You're cribbing our style, man. And it was the New Day being the New Day. And then, of course, the League of Nations come out. And Bad News Barrett showed up, which I understand he's turned in his notice. Like, after June, he's gone. He's not happy with his character and what they have him doing. Which, can really any of us blame him?
No.
And, like, this is what Sheamus and Rusev and Alberto Del Rio have been reduced to. 2 months ago, they were the main event. And now... Exactly. It was a good little segment, but it's a talking segment. There's really not much you need to say. Just go watch it. It's the only thing worth watching. And then that put us into the next match, which I don't even have a graphic for. Like, I usually try and grab the graphics before the pay-per-view, and this one caught us all off guard because it wasn't announced, it wasn't anything. It was Curtis Axel with the Social Outcasts versus R-Truth with Goldust?
Mm-hmm. The second match, that could have been the pre-cook.
I mean, seriously, let's just... I mean, Curtis Axel won the match because Goldust, blah, and he wants to be like a tag team with R-Truth and call themselves the Golden Truth. This is basically what he did with Booker T back in the Attitude Era. But
yep.
Rehashing that crap back aside, Seriously, this made the show, and Rey Mysterio Jr. and Alberto Del Rio gets the pre-show.
Don't even talk about it.
Can we not talk about the next match?
First of all, let's talk about how after the AJ Styles match, that's literally been nothing but a shoot of crap.
Oh, God.
It died down worse than a fucking heart attack, man.
Yes.
Not good.
But, I mean, there's only one match left. I mean, again, this is
the match that's supposed to count, but...
no surprise theater. Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar, not for the WWE Heavyweight Championship of the World, because Trips could not be bothered to wrestle tonight, but for the number one contendership in the main event at WrestleMania. Now, I have to go back and I have to say something. And when I said I didn't have a problem, well, I didn't say I didn't have a problem. I said I'm fine with the way the Royal Rumble ended because, of course, it needed to end that way because it was the safest thing to do. I now have a problem with it because what the hell, man? Like, really, guys? Really? Like, this is what you got for us? I mean, no surprises here. I'm going to tell you straight up. Roman Reigns won. Who's surprised here? Raise your hand if you're surprised. If you're raising your hand, it's probably because you're having a stroke, because you were not surprised either. Not even a little bit. And the sad part about it was a good little match. It had great psychology. Like, they had to beat up Brock. They put Brock through 2 freaking tables. It was Ambrose versus Reigns, which I said a while ago I wanted that match because of the way they were setting it up. But then they did this, and it's like, no. And then, Brock came back with a very wicked spot where Roman was about to do the obligatory Samoan drop on Dean Ambrose, and then Brock just comes in and German suplexes him, who in turn Samoa drops Dean in this just absolutely just insane spot, and then it was just like Brock, and they had this really, really great spot where he put him in the Kimura lock, put Roman in the Kimura lock. Dean was somewhere, and Roman was powering out of it, and the crowd was...
The crowd goes mild, folks.
Exactly. I mean, they were like, yeah, he's gonna break it, and then Dean just goes to freaking town with a freaking chair.
Folks, and that was the insane. The best part about it was not that he was brocking out on Brock, is that he turned around and started slamming it on Roman, and went to town that way. That was the best part.
And then, of course, Roman, wins with a spear on Dean Ambrose, because we have to protect Brock, and of course Roman was going to win.
And of course Brock can never lose by being pinned. He can lose when other people lose.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. He keeps losing these triple threats by sheerly being taken out of the match. It's getting old, D. It's getting very old, WWE. But that was...
WrestleMania 30?
Yeah, exactly.
31?
I mean... That was the show. I'll tell you right now, it got a D.
D for Dean Ambrose.
Not even a D for D. I mean, they sat there and they put that hope spot in there, and it was kind of like the end of the Royal Rumble. And it was just like...
That was horrible.
And it was like Dean could really do it. Dean's not going to do it.
Let's focus on the spotting at the end of that too. So we get Roman Reigns. He wins. He points at the thing like he did it, like he was supposed to do at Royal Rumble, and the thing's supposed to explode around like they do in Royal Rumble, but they didn't. They waited till Fastlane, and of course they point at it. Everyone's booing the crap out of him, just like how he did at the end of Royal Rumble 2015. And of course, the only thing they could think of is, let's put Triple H out there, and let's bring him in, and just have him show the title in front of him, and end the scene right there.
He couldn't show up for TV. He couldn't show up for anything, but he damn well showed up at the end of No Mercy in his stupid little suit. And yeah, you could have seen a title match tonight, but you didn't. Ha ha.
Womp womp.
So yeah, you already know what I'm grading it. I'm grading it a D. This was a waste of my time. This was a waste of everyone's time. This was not worth this was not worth the price of admission.
You know, we usually disagree on the thing, and in this case, I'm gonna slightly disagree with you. I'm not gonna give it a D. I'm giving it a C plus because they still had the good KO match. And I said this from the very beginning, folks. The matches internally, when it comes to the spots and the technical mind wrestling of it all, those were great. The story was caca. The middle section was literally melted, so that way everything fell in the middle. It was just not cohesive at all, and it definitely didn't give any hype to something to WrestleMania. Because let's face it, folks,
It added nothing.
I'll give you an example of a really good waiting for WrestleMania, dying out WrestleMania, but thank God no pay-per-view happened, and that was No Way Out. We're gonna go back in time 10 years ago when the late great Eddie Guerrero snuck a belt match by Kurt Angle, won the match. Was it Kurt Angle? I think it was Kurt Angle.
Brock Lesnar.
Was it against Brock Lesnar at No Way Out?
Yep.
You sure?
It's Eddie Guerrero's only title reign. He won against Brock Lesnar, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Beat Brock Lesnar at No Way Out, making the next 30 days so hyped for WrestleMania for him to defend the belt. And it was so worth watching that No Way Out pay-per-view because of it. That is an example of a pay-per-view that actually is a lineup for that. Because I can tell you this much, between the beginning year of January to the end of April, seems to be a pretty sucky time for WWE wrestlers, WWE fans, because the Royal Rumble was shit, this was shit, and who knows what's going to happen at Mania.
What can you do, man? I mean,
I don't know, but here's hoping, because when we get back, I know my man usually likes to plug this, but I'm going to tell you this time, when we get back from break, folks, we're going to talk about something that we think is really going to start happening in the next 60 days.
Yep. Well, time to go off to break, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right, later, folks.
On behalf of Kane Snook and myself, the Faded Saint, we would like to thank bensound.com for our opening theme, Actionable. And we would also like to thank Mitch Yet for our closing theme, which is becoming the closing theme for everything here on Faded Saint Presents Panic at the Reactor. And in the spirit of doing something a little bit different here, we're actually going to play our new closing theme, Panic at the Reactor, in its entirety. So, enjoy. Welcome back. I'm your boy, Common the Faded Saint. That is my boy, Kane Super What? Snuka. And we're back with Off the Ropes. I hope you enjoyed that little break there. And things are looking up. Things are looking up.
Looks like a new day.
Looks like a new day. Looks like a new day for New Day, but that's a coming. Off the Ropes this week is sponsored by no one. We didn't get any sponsor. We're just doing this because nobody wanted to freaking sponsor Fastlane.
Not even Fastlane wanted to sponsor Fastlane.
Not even Fastlane would sponsor Fastlane. God. But
I'm surprised. You know what pissed me off? That we didn't even talk about. There was no tag team title match.
yeah, well, yeah.
What the H was that?
It was we want our most we want our most entertaining act to be with our formerly most entertaining act, and those two guys can't wrestle, so I thought for sure they were gonna roll that into a match, but they didn't.
Especially since we totally forgot about the whole point of the I can't even talk about them because they're so stupid. The League of Nations.
Oh, did we forget to point out that it looks like they're setting up for a League of Nations versus New Day tag team match at WrestleMania?
Why?
Because that's what it looked like they were doing.
Are they trying to make them face again, New Day? I don't get it.
Well, we will talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Raw hit the day after, and I swear to God, it was like the weirdest thing, because normally it's a pay-per-view and a week Raw. This time it was a week pay-per-view and a good Raw. Because
there was a great Raw after the Rumble.
Yeah. Usually, though, I'm saying.
That's true.
So they've been hyping this Vincent J. McMahon Award for God knows last 3 weeks.
For the youngins, if you don't know who Vincent J. McMahon is, that's Vincent McMahon's father, who during the territory days, which means that there was different sections of the United States you actually wrestled in, he in the Northeast, where New York was, had that territory. When Vince Jr. took over, he decided to try to make it global and put it on television, which is why you have today's WWE. Back to the pay program.
So, and, this always felt a little contrived. So Vincent comes out and he says that, this is in honor of his dad and, this goes to a very worthy individual. And it goes to Steph. And Steph comes out with her little day planner and stuff and we're, I'm already sitting in and I'm settling in. It's like, well, time to get the whole 6-pack. And then
I noticed that you have a 6-pack for Stephanie McMahon and only 1 beer for the women's match.
Because I hold Stephanie McMahon personally responsible for the State of the Divas division.
You mean Divas Revolution?
It never was a revolution. They lied to us.
It was a conquistador.
But at any rate, and then
before even a word gets put out about what our concession about it,
like a
money! Here we go.
It was like a breath of fresh air, like
a breath of fresh ass.
It was like just dawn had come after a hurricane had ripped across the seas, and just like that.
Like that big speech at the end of Two Towers when Sam was like, "People live for hope."
People,
Mr. Frodo.
Mr. Frodo. And Shane O'Mac.
The shine will shine out the clearer.
Shane O'Mac comes, shocking everyone. And Shane looked gray, but he looked spry.
Can we address that Vince McMahon officially definitely dyes his hair?
Yes. Vince, you dye your hair. We know this.
Because there's no goddamn way his son comes out gray as the fucking silver fox you can get. And his father's still sporting a black jet hair.
So, of course, Steph is all ticked. And Shane starts dropping some knowledge on us. So apparently, and understand this is all storyline, but apparently Vince at some point had made a huge mistake And Shane, who was no longer working for the company, who was still working for the company at the time, had to clean it up. And this is what actually allowed him to get out from under the WWE and go out and make his fortune. And now he is coming back. Yeah, we've got air quotes there.
A fortune, by the way.
Fortune. And anyway, he had this, and apparently he's decided that whatever this seems like some kind of a blackmail thing, but he has something in a safety deposit box that Vince doesn't want getting out. And in order to keep it where it needs to stay under wrap, he wants Raw. Which Stephanie, and I'll tell you what, I am shocked that they let Shane lay down some truth like they did. Talking about the ratings dipping and the pay-per-view buys going down and the stock being down and stuff like that.
And the best one they mentioned, which I thought was going to be completely out of nowhere for us to even admit this, was the whole injury list.
Oh wow, yeah, that's right. I'd forgotten. Just talking about how injured everyone was.
The most injured roster of all time.
Which is the truth. But I mean, you talk about all of this, and Stephanie being indignant, and Vince just kind of, well, we'll go talk about it in the back.
Well, I could tell you this much: the one thing we're definitely missing out here that makes the premise of why he's out there is not because that. He said the thing that broke the camel's back was that Stephanie McMahon was going to be awarded this prestige award for something she clearly doesn't earn. That's what pissed him off the most, he said.
Which, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Stephanie McMahon in real life,
as a real person, yeah.
As a real person, is a wonderful person and does a lot of great stuff for charities and
knows how to take a role as far as fakes in the crowd. Knows how to take a role. She was the insult to almost every good wrestler. Y2J used her as a beating post for good remarks, and she was like, "Bring it, make the crowd love me."
She took a face first. She went face first into a freaking tub of pudding to send Vicky Guerrero off into retirement.
Yeah,
and this isn't like a top tier wrestler. This is Vicky Guerrero.
And she also was able to. She also got a boob exposure from a Triple H fucking pedigree on the top of a table 15 years ago. So she knows how to take a job role hard. So in real life, Prudos deserves the award. But back to Stephanie McMahon, the Authority, yeah, definitely doesn't deserve it.
And after they had sent Steph along to the back and Shane laid down his terms, Vince is like, okay, I'll give you what you want.
Let's cut that up. Let's just put a break on that, by the way.
Are we going to save that entire thing for the end?
No. I want to just address the funny moment of how they only gave Stephanie like 10 feet before Vince was like, all right, since we're here, you're alone, let's talk. Well, she just took 10 feet.
It was like she can hear you. You guys are on microphones. Clearly, she does. And she had to act later. It's like, man, this must be something. Anyway. So, basically, Shane lays it out. I want Raw. I want the flagship. I want to bring wrestling back to great. And Vince is indignant about it.
I want generations of McMahon's futures to exist.
Exactly. Which is absolutely great. And trust me, I don't know if this is something where he's coming back into the fold of the company now. I hope he is, because the product was much better when he was there.
Well, let's take off Mike for a moment here and take a recognition, folks, of how he just got demoted from CEO of U Entertainment. And he was just a chairman at that point, just sitting there on the board. So clearly, under his management, they were not confident with him. So it's clear it could be a good experience of him just going back. Who knows? I mean, who knows the whole story, folks? Because, there was no clear explanation on why he really left. Because he wasn't hating. He just wanted to do his own thing. And him leaving, that's how he did it. That's it.
Yeah, if they had ever gotten a hold of ECW like they had wanted to, like, Vince was going to buy out ECW and give it to Shane McMahon. and Shane was going to build up the brand as a grooming period for him to take over the business. Mm-hmm. That's in the in my name is Paul Heyman 2-hour DVD, which, by the way, it's on WWE.com, but it's one of the best. Also, one of the best purchases I made.
It's also one of the best Beyond Ring videos.
Oh yeah, totally. But anywho, so Vince says, "Fine, I'll give you what you want, but you've got to perform one more time for us." And
a big match.
You're going to perform at WrestleMania, and you're going to perform against The Undertaker. Hell in a Cell.
When I heard that, I could have swore Cash was falling around the arena.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Shane is like almost. He's got to be pushing 50 at this.
He's in his 40s.
He's in his 40s, but I mean, still. But I mean, Hell in a Cell with The Undertaker. Not what I would expect, but I mean, if Shane is up to even half of like Shane's speed, then it's going to be a phenomenal match. I'm excited for it.
Well, here's the thing about it, folks. This is why I'm totally behind this. If you ever watched Shane when he was actually wrestling, we're not talking about like when he was with Vincent McMahon against DX. I'm talking about when he was wrestling Kurt Angle, the King of the Ring, and all that kind of shit. He was known for pulling off the best matches for a non-wrestler. And he was also known for pulling out victories without having such a huge retribution about being like a heel or anything like that. He just came out of nowhere and won it. I could see this happening because people in the back definitely were sweating bullets, crying their eyes out, thinking, how the hell are they going to put Undertaker in the ground for retirement? Who is going to do it? John Cena can't do it. Triple H can't do it. Sting can't do it. Who are they going to get involved? Here comes the money. Here we go.
When in doubt, bring it into family. Now, I will make this one other comment, and then we'll move along. Vince never said whether or not Shane has to win the match. He just has to perform in the match. But they were acting later on like he's got to win the match in order to get it. But that makes no sense. Why would Shane agree to that when he clearly doesn't have to? And it was never actually said explicitly that he has to win the match to get Raw.
That's why he said it.
He just says that he had to perform. Didn't say he had to win.
That might have been a writing oversight because they clearly can't have him just in the match because he can just walk out and say, "Yep, where's my Raw?"
I don't know. Well, we'll see in the coming. And that brings us to the ballad of poor Dean Ambrose. I mean, he almost won the Rumble, but we all knew he wasn't. He almost won it. He almost won at Fastlane, but we all knew he wouldn't. He gets jumped right before Raw by Brock Lesnar and gets beaten to a bloody pulp and sent to the hospital. Very predictably, and that's the story behind that is Brock blames Dean for not being in the main event at WrestleMania.
Well, I can tell you this much: he is the Wyatt family of single wrestlers when it comes to losing.
I absolutely agree. And we're going to get to this a little bit later when we get to the WrestleMania main event. But Dean comes back during the thing, and he says that he wants Brock at WrestleMania. And that's what we're going to get, Dean versus Brock at WrestleMania.
Which is not a bad idea.
No, it's a very good idea, but here's the problem. Does any of us actually believe that they're going to job Brock Lesnar to Dean Ambrose?
Nope.
And you see, here's the thing. Actually, no, I am going to bring this up now, rather than wait. Everyone at the Royal Rumble was behind Dean winning. When Dean was the last person in, even though I knew it wasn't going to happen, he was getting the best cheers. When freaking the match came and Dean looked like he was going to pull it out with the chair shots and stuff, and even though we knew it wasn't going to happen, he was getting the best cheers. His near falls were getting the best cheers. Roman was getting booed out of the building. They were cheering for Brock. They were cheering for Dean, but they were not cheering for Roman. Dean Ambrose, clearly, is who the fans want. And now they're going to job him out at WrestleMania to Brock Lesnar. And that's the only way this can end. So why do it? I mean, I know, like, the alternative is, like, what's the alternative? Like, the Bray Wyatt versus Brock? There's no one, and, you know, this is a problem with the product overall. There's no one believable here that you can put up against Brock that is going to serve him as a challenge. So almost anyone that you put in here, you can't put in a no-name because that's not even a match. And then you put in one of your big names, and then they're just going to get crushed. And this is going to be, what, 3 pay-per-views in a row that Dean gets crushed?
I'm speechless. I don't know.
I mean, exactly. I mean, why? It'll be a great match, but we all know Brock's going to win, and it's not going to do... It's like CM Punk. It's like CM Punk says. That's great. Who's going to be on Raw the next day? Mm-hmm. Dean's going to job to Brock, and Brock's not going to is not going to do the favor back. He hasn't yet. He hasn't done the favor for anyone yet.
Nope.
And if you know, and if you can remember, Brock losing a match cleanly, losing a match, a one-on-one match, getting pinned. Put it in the comments down below. Tweet me, Tumblr me, because I don't remember him getting pinned at all.
Not for a decade.
You know what he fucking is? He is the fucking Hulk Hogan of this generation right now.
Backstage politics Hulk Hogan, maybe not front face Hulk Hogan.
I mean, he's a better athlete, and he's better look and all of that, but I mean, this is the truth here. He comes in, he wins, and that's it. You know what? Let's just move on. I'd rather talk about the next thing on the list than this, which is, even though I put right here, it's right here on a little list here. Really? Why? And that is, they had a little segment where Sasha and Becky did a thing with Team Bad again, I think, or someone. I wasn't really paying attention too much to who it was. And then Charlotte comes out and starts talking about, you know, how she's better than the two of them and this, that, and the other. It's the build-up to Sasha versus Charlotte.
Well, let's also look at the cleverness behind the outfit that Charlotte chose to wear that night. If you didn't notice, she was wearing Brie Bella's top.
I did not notice that. And I think that's because I don't care about Charlotte at all right now. Hold on, let me see. Yep. Nope, don't care. Don't care about her. She is just not a great heel. Even with Flair, with Rick there, it just doesn't feel
mesh.
Right. Especially the build-up for her being a heel, just like the turnaround, never felt right to me.
Well, I still feel that she's a good heel on her own if she could. I think another month or two after Mania, Ric Flair will officially sit in the corner, gone, and Charlotte would take care of herself, being the bitchy heel she is.
They need to figure something else out. But, I mean, this is the build-up to the WrestleMania match. Charlotte versus Sasha is the marquee. They may throw Becky in there for reasons, but WWE, this is WrestleMania. We know, this isn't like before, where all we had was what we saw on Raw and SmackDown. And especially when talking about Charlotte and Sasha and maybe Becky, we have seen what they can do. Mm-hmm. For $9.99, you can see far better matches on NXT that they have had going through the archives than you have seen on any of your pay-per-views or on any of your mainstream shows. So,
Charlotte and Sasha alone.
Exactly.
Review the tape, Charlotte. Review your tapes.
I don't even think it's Charlotte's fault. I think it's because this is what happened.
In ring? Nah, man. Unless you're telling me these wrestlers have little nodules in their ear where Vince is telling them in the background, do a flip roll. Damn it.
No, but they don't give them... You know, they said there was going to be a Divas Revolution, and that lasted, what, like a month and a half? And then we're right back to where we were before. They're not giving time.
They think Sasha Banks is the Divas Revolution. I think that's what they think.
Which they would be right. at this point because they have killed Becky because Becky is Dame Dolph Ziggler. They've
She's the
killed.
bully. Yeah.
They've put Sasha in the back to save her, and then they propped up Nikki Bella like with what's left of her spine so that they could beat AJ Lee's freaking record. And then she gets injured. She gets herself even more injured against basically trying to keep up with Charlotte, who's a better athlete.
Let me ask you a question here, folks, and I'm going to ask you directly there, Faded Saint. What's going on with my girl from the Bret Hart family,
She's
Natalie?
Injured?
Is she?
No.
Because they need to bring her back in.
She's attending to DJ. No, TJ's Tyson. Tyson's real name is TJ.
Yeah.
She refers to him as TJ. TJ is another one who may not come back. He's injured with a neck injury right now. And spending time with him, and she's also doing the house show circuit. Like, she shows up every now and again. But, I mean, no. Actually, no. She did injure herself. Charlotte injured her. Way to go, Charlotte.
Thanks, Obama.
Arigato, Obama-san. And anywho, all I'm saying is that we know this is coming. We know it's going to be Charlotte versus Sasha and maybe Becky. We know what they can do.
No, not the maybe Becky part. Not the maybe Becky part. Keep her out.
I want to keep her out, but you don't know with them.
Can we have a WrestleMania where it's just 2 one-on-one women?
No.
I swear to God, if they make it into a tag team match with no women's title, I'm just going to flip the table.
I would really get ready for that.
No.
I really would.
No!
So that brings us to the next thing, which is are we having a new day for the new day? Because we were touching on this before. Doesn't it kind of seem like they're turning them face? I mean, I guess they don't have a choice because people aren't chanting New Day sucks anymore. They're chanting New Day rocks. And it doesn't matter how much...
They?
Yeah.
I'm not noticing that. I guess because it sounds so familiar.
It's been that way. It's been that way for at least the last 3 pay-per-views. Like, people aren't booing them anymore. They're cheering, and rightfully so. They are easily the most entertaining thing that comes out of any show that they're on. They are easily the most entertaining part of the WWE right now, and they should be making a lot more than they probably are. But that notwithstanding, with the whole League of Nations, obviously the League of Nations, I thought they were going to put the League of Nations face against the New Day, but they're going the opposite way, which I guess I understand more.
Why? Sheamus and all them are a bunch of dicks.
Exactly. They're a bag of
Where's
dicks.
Rusev? You know, I have to say, though, it's still poor Barrett. Every time. You notice how every League of Nations, they gave, if we just take a little bit of a backtrack here, folks. Fastlane. They gave King Barrett a mic, but they didn't make him talk.
Oh, wait, I've got to find this. No, he did talk. He did say something.
Like 5 seconds.
Hold on. I should point out that Bad News Barrett is my brother's very favorite wrestler. I'm sorry, Riker. Not that he's your favorite wrestler, but that they just mistreat him so. And hold on here. These were the tweets that I got. So this is like right after that happened. In all capital letters, Barrett spoke. And then me right back to him. Barrett showed up. And of course he says, I am way too excited to see him. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. It's like, no, I mean, that's how underutilized he is. He's the best talker in the faction. Why is it that he's only now getting any mic time? Well, WWE? Nothing? Didn't think so.
Hashtag bring news Barrett.
No kidding. But, like I said,
Big deal,
he may not be long for this WWE world if the dirt sheets are right. But at any rate,
Do tell.
Apparently, he's not happy. Apparently, he hasn't renewed his contract, and his contract's up in June.
Oh boy.
So unless he CM Punks in the next few months,
Pipe bombs, everything.
exactly. I would love to see him just like let loose, but I mean, I guess it
Probably
makes
be
sense.
anti-John Cena, though. I'll tell you that.
Probably. I mean, if they're gonna do this, just the New Days have to be the face, but I don't know, man. I mean, I guess they don't have a choice because the fans are cheering him, so they have to kind of make a face. I just hope they don't decide to like change the act too much. You know what I'm saying?
I just hope they keep what they got going, and just because the fact that they're so lovable, that's why they're keeping the crowd heavy. I don't know.
Maybe.
They need to get rid of Francesca, though. I think the trombone, when it broke the first time, should have been the last time we should have saw the bone. But, we'll deal with that.
Yep. And that brings us to...
Why? This is worse than the women's match. You know this, right?
I'm out of beer, man.
You do realize this is worse than the... Look, can we address the elephant in the room and just say it? He is not top-tier material. Roman Reigns is great either as a tag heavy or an assassin, not this super duper hero. Let me win the title. I'm a good father. La 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 la. No, he is not. First of all, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna give Roman Reigns the heavy top choice, let him talk like you let The Rock talk, like you let Stone Cold talk. Let him actually talk. Don't give him words to use in his mouth. Perfect example, folks, was Royal Rumble. I think it was 2014 or 2013, where he's in the back with Shield talking about. He's like, "I'm ready. It sounded like he was literally reading off a card behind Dean Ambrose. He
dropped the card like in the middle. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but would it really surprise anyone?
It's like you know what? It's True Hollywood Stories level true. I'll tell you that, because he is just not. He did no. When you have Dean Ambrose being asked all the time, I'm waiting for we want Ambrose in the middle of that, like how they did with Sasha with
We want
matches.
anyone. I mean, I was kind of digging what they were doing when they were building up with Stone Cold Reigns, as we dubbed him.
Yeah.
But, dear God, no one wants this. Like, how are they going to justify? Like, what are your choices at this point? Your choices are A, Roman wins, and the crowd, the WrestleMania crowd, turning on him, which is exactly what's going to happen if he wins. So what's your other play? Trips wins.
No.
We've already seen how great Trips the champion is.
And they can't do a Money in the Bank push either. That's wasted.
It's like, dude, there is...
And you know what? And we definitely pulled away the undercard comment, where you know how like at WrestleMania 30 when they're like, you know what, Daniel Bryan, if you win against Triple H in the first match, you can go in the triple threat at the end. There's nothing like that for this. There's nobody they could save in grace for.
They can't save it with Seth Rollins like they did last year.
Yeah. Even though, to tell you the truth, his match against Brock Lesnar wasn't bad at all.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't bad at all. But I'm gonna sit here.
That he didn't win.
Me too. But I mean, it was, unless they're gonna turn Reigns heel, which I don't see happening. But unless they're gonna turn Reigns heel, I'm gonna steal a line from the Avengers. There's no throne. There is no version of this scenario that turns out well for you, WWE. None.
Truth.
And they keep going for it. And they keep going for it. And no one's buying it. No one is buying it. Guys, you gotta stop. There is no... You're locked in now. So I have no idea how you're going to write your asses out of this.
Nope.
And especially after taking it away from Roman last year, there's almost no way you can not have him win.
Unless that match against the Undertaker gives Shane powers to make rules out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you hear, "Here comes the money," and he comes down and he wins the match. That's the only thing I can think of that's gonna make it worth
It's
his
not.
while.
Roman's gonna win because there's nothing because they've booked themselves into a corner and it's gonna be a fucking disaster because no one wants to see Roman Reigns champion
Shitstorm
at
Central.
WrestleMania. No one wants to see.
Shitstorm
And
Central.
if this is the part that just pisses me right off. You know, you hear me a lot being solemn and just whatever lately, especially when but this pisses me off because here's the truth. They could have done this a lot better. They could have done this easily, so much better. They could have had Dean improbably win that Royal Rumble and then brother versus brother at WrestleMania and turn one of them heel and have it just be a blow off the top freaking match. But no, what do? They have the safe one win, Trips won. They pretty much kill the Roman versus Dean match, which we knew was coming, by throwing Brock Lesnar in there and doing what they did with that. And now we got what we got. I mean, I'm going to watch WrestleMania, but
now here's the thing,
Jesus
folks.
Christ, this is going to be awful.
Another concern I may have is, are they making Triple H a new sign of their need? Because everyone loved the hell out of Triple H beating the living fuck out of Roman Reigns that night. Like, to the point where there's a picture of Roman Reigns with a battered, apparently surgically redone nose job. He looked like a beaten puppy that they have in a cage after they just found him in like a cage den of dog fights. Just this picture looks so sad. We're gonna have to find and pull it up for somebody.
I'll see if I can find it.
But in this case, oh my God, he literally just prison raped Roman Reigns around the arena, and people ate it up.
They were cheering him. They were cheering Trips.
The thing that we don't want in story-wise, we want people to love Roman Reigns.
And they don't.
And I really hope the AT&T Arena is a long-ass arena that he has to take forever to get to the ring at the end of that, because I know it always took 10 minutes for him to walk at WrestleMania 31 to get to the ring, and I hope it's twice as long. Because Texas, everything's bigger.
Yeah. Well, let's move past that.
Kids don't even like Roman Reigns.
Believe that.
Believe that.
And so that brings us towards the end of the podcast, and we're going to come back to Shane. And, well, I mean, like I said, they didn't actually say that Shane had to win the match in order to get it, just that he had to perform. And I don't know if that was an oversight on their part, but Shane...
Well, I can tell you this much. Shane had some issues talking on the mic. He definitely forgot a line or two, as you saw, because Vince had to clean up behind him on that. So maybe they definitely forgot the whole "you're supposed to win in order for this to happen." Or maybe in Vince's mind, when they say one more match, meaning you have to win that match. So who knows with that. But let's dip into the future. Let's pretend that he beats The Undertaker.
Which is possible, because if The Undertaker is retiring, all good wrestlers go out on their backs.
Yeah. And in this case, he was supposed to go out a few years ago, but Brock Lesnar ruined it bad. He actually concussed Undertaker, and that's why he had to stick around for a few more years just to get it going back up again. And I can tell you this much. If Shane wins, which sounds very likely because of the fact that he is actually a very good qualified candidate to give Undertaker a goodbye. Like, there's no Shawn Michaels to give like Ric Flair was. You know, there's nobody bigger than The Undertaker that can send The Undertaker back, except for a crowd-loving socialite like Shane McMahon, with the exception of maybe Kurt Angle. Would be the only exception I could think of that would actually give an over-the-top match for a wrestler to say goodbye to. He would be the perfect one in this case, and I'm on board with it. And let's talk about this. If he wins and he gets Raw, what is the potential? Are they gonna deflate Raw like it's been like this whole time, or is he going to make it edgier without feeling the need to make it un-PG? Because we've had this debate before outside of the show. We talked about how we don't need to have it not be PG for it to not be good. You can still be edgy and still be PG. The story needs to get beef. The story itself needs beef. People need character development. These things are missing out. And this is a perfect example of how it can be done if they are promising Shane McMahon to change it up. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a brand split. I'm hoping that they go, well, if I got Raw, Daddy, which is Stephanie McMahon saying this at this point, Daddy, I want SmackDown then. Like I used to back in the day when I was the GM and I used to rock that shit. I would love that.
I would
Sibling
too.
versus sibling. That would be so cool. Cherry.
I mean, and here's brass tacks. All of those things that he said is true. The stock is down. The ratings are down. They've got more injuries than ever.
Yeah.
And
Pappy Snooker's blood pressure is worse than the ratings.
they got to do something to turn it around. And a lot of it has been missteps. I mean, they've really started going downhill since CM Punk. And I kind of feel like they may have waited just a little bit too long on Daniel Bryan. They may have lost some people. And that's when they started realizing they needed to do it. And unfortunately, Daniel retired because of concussions. Which is a shame. But, I mean, Daniel's out. Cena's out. Who have they really got? Who have they really got right now? The Wyatts, who lose almost every pay-per-view. Dean Ambrose, who always comes close but never actually gets it.
A good set of wrestlers that are literally on the injured list.
Dolph Ziggler, who's the best he is at what he does, but what he does is usually take sick bumps and lose.
He's the reverse Wolverine.
Becky Lynch, who loses to everyone and has literally been like the redheaded stepchild of the entire Divas division.
Truth.
I mean,
Goldust,
the social outcast. Like, who is there to take the place? You've got Kevin Owens, who's got a decent push. You've got Kalisto, but let's be honest, Vince is not. It doesn't really push the freaking 5'6" Mexican wrestler. Just ask Rey Mysterio Jr., the actual one. I mean, who? Ryback?
And the potential ones, he doesn't even have. He has them so below mid card. They're going back to NXT, like Neville. Neville is designed to go next week against Finn Balor. By the way, another great wrestler who needs to be pushed back up to the fucking roster.
But that's exactly the point. They have this. They have the training center, and how many hits have they actually had? Like, at one point you could argue the Wyatts, but really, are they a hit? Really? Anymore? There's the Ascension. There's Adam Rose.
Meh.
There's Bo Dallas.
Meh.
There's Emma.
Well, now she's a lot better back in NXT.
Now that she's back in NXT, but on the main roster, she was a flop.
Because they had a horrible gimmick. Let's face it. When
There's Dolph Ziggler Jr.
You gotta. There's one rule I believe that you should do, and that you should bunk Vince McMahon on your gimmick, because I'll give you a perfect example, and that is the Pride Land himself, the white African Papa Shah. You know that he was one man gang, and he was fucking fantastic as one man gang.
Akeem the African Dream.
Yep, Akeem the African Dream. Vince said, "We're gonna make you Akeem the African Dream. You're gonna be a sensation." After that he got destroyed. Nobody liked him, especially the black community went bullshit crazy after that little number. And he was never there.
The difference is though, he actually had a decent run for a while as part of the Twin Towers with the Big Boss Man. But I mean,
Gang Man is a lot more noticeable than Akeem the African.
I agree. But
now just want to finish this up here now. An example: Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was going to be the ringmaster the entire time, And he said, no, I want to be someone better. And they were like, let's make you the Iceman, the Iceman Steve Austin. And he goes, how about, because he said something about how someone used to call him, it's because of the attitude, he was very stone cold. So Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, his wife at the time came up with it.
Yeah, that's what I said. Someone said to him, Stone Cold, because of his personality kind of situation.
Actually, as he tells the story, he was trying to come up with a name because he had horrible names, and his wife, who was a former wrestling valet by the name of Lady Blossom, back in the day, very hot, was also very British and was making tea for the both of them and told him while he was mulling this over that if he didn't drink his tea, it would get stone cold.
Well, you know what? Hold on one second. Jackie! God damn it! Go over, no, you don't. Damn it! Cheeseburger. Alright.
But I mean, there's been... I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Kevin Owens, but can you really say that Kevin Owens was in NXT? He was in NXT, what, 2 months?
Well, he was not Kevin Stein.
Fair enough. But I mean, that's it. And I'm just looking over right now. Like, Charlotte, bust. The only thing that's keeping her going is Ric Flair hanging around.
Well, you have a reserve, my friend. I still think she's a great heel woman. So, put it out there.
It just does not seem natural to her the way they're doing it. It seems like it seems very forced. But Sasha, they've put on the back burner. Like I said, Dame Dolph Ziggler. Like, who is there to pick it up now? Edge is not coming back. Christian's not coming back. Trips can only wrestle like 3 or 4 times a year at that.
Big Show and Kane are definitely on their way out.
Yeah, Big Show and Kane are old. You don't have these people anymore. John Cena is not going to be around forever. The Rock is gone. Stone Cold is gone. Like, who is left? And how long is it going to be before you cut bait and you run?
And the hopeful retired because of his neck injury, and that was Daniel Bryan.
Exactly. Or they got fed up and they left, like CM Punk.
Oh, another great one.
Like,
Folks, it's becoming a very depressing atmosphere for wrestling. If ROH and TNA decided to combine forces and actually get a real public spot, they might actually re-spark the war that we need for them to WWE go, we need to bump up our powers again.
Too many people are afraid of the Juggernaut. And this is what lack of competition has brought. There's no one to compete with. So why try?
They are living off of the feeds of the WWE. They go, let's just make good wrestlers so that way the WWE can contract them and we'll get money for it.
I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, they finally got AJ Styles back in there, and they're bringing the Bullet Club over, and they're bringing other people over. But I don't trust that outside of NXT, they're going to do anything with them, or they're going to know how to use them.
I could say this much: I'm very glad they decided not to do it like they did Samoa Joe, where they put him in NXT. Because imagine AJ Styles in NXT, that would have been nightmare fuel for people.
I'm honestly surprised that they didn't. But anyway, with that said, it's time to wrap up because I can't take any more of this. This is just depressing me entirely too much. I'm going to go hit the bar after this. At any rate. So, I mean, we don't really need to predict WrestleMania. That's obviously going to, in itself, and we've already done a few of those predictions. But, yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap up. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to say once again, thank you to bensound.com for our opening theme song, Actionable. Thank you once again to Me Chet for our closing theme song, the closing theme song of all products here on Faded Saint Presents, and that is Picnic at the Reactor. And if you want to go ahead and hit us up with a question, I am at Kamizite on...
Wait!
Nope, I'm wrong.
Did you have a question?
No, it never came through. I told... And they acted like they were going to give me a question, and they didn't give it to me. It's too late. And I'm sorry, it's at Faded Saint on Twitter. I am Kamizite.tumblr.com on the Tumblr. If you have a question for me or for Keen Snuka, just go ahead and drop us a line right there. Drop us a line in the comments down below. We certainly appreciate anyone giving us a little feedback here.
Anything!
Anything, man. Seriously.
Even if it's just telling me to eat a sandwich, let me know.
At any rate, I'm your boy, Kami the Faded Saint. That is my boy, Kane Super What? Snuka, saying we'll see you on the next podcast.
See you in the booth later, folks.